marvelous morning, excellent afternoon, and wonderful evening. This is Carla from I'm getting my shows confused. From MindPlore with Carla and Friends. And today we are talking about happy minds, happy life. Very often we forget to be grateful. We forget to be happy about what we have. We think, I want my life to be this way, or I want my life to be that way, or I need more money and I need it now. Instead of thinking, hey, I have what I need now. I have everything that I need to get through life. And because of this, we're not happy. Now, we all have a monkey mind. I tried to explain this to someone the other day and was not very successful in a text. But a monkey mind means our minds go from one thing to another thing from moment to moment. And we allow our emotions to follow our minds. And we forget we are very special people. We are very wonderful people. Everyone is wonderful. Everyone is powerful. And everyone has that ability to do what they need to do without anyone telling them they're right, they're wrong, or anywhere in between. So we're going to talk about that, how to have a happy mind. What is a happy mind? And today I am very honored to have Shivali back with me, who's acting as sort of as a co-host, but she doesn't realize it, which is why I bring her. And Kassim, I cannot pronounce your name. You can tell us your name in a few minutes. Omska.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely right. Yes.
Also,
you're doing. Yeah.
Okay. From India. Actually, both of them are from India, and I'm from the United States. And the person from Pakistan didn't show up, maybe problems with the internet. But we're here internationally to talk about what does it mean to have a happy mind and a happy life, and to be grateful for the lives we have. Whether you think it's good or bad, this is where we are at the moment. And we need to take the moment and make it as good as we possibly can. And with that, Shivali, you know what I need to do. And I need you to talk, please.
Thank you, Carla, and hi, Kassim, and all our viewers and friends. This is Shivali. Well, interesting topic, and I've been thinking about it since evening. As usual, Carla comes up with pops up with these ideas, and I thought, okay, I'll say something. So it happens each
Sounding like
Carla.
you don't want to say anything.
Yes, it makes us think. That's why, it suits our program, and it suits us because it sets my mind working. Now, what am I supposed to speak? So, happy mind, happy life. We all know this. It sounds a very, it's like a formula. Be happy, khush rahiye, as we say in our language. Be happy, then everything is fine. It's a part of life. But no, it's not that easy. We all know this. We all experience this because our mind is very flickering. It doesn't stay in one place. It's not happy with what it gets. That's why that gratitude thing that we keep on reminding ourselves. That's the very fact that we are speaking right now. We are connecting with each other. I think This is something that we need to be grateful for. But most of the time, what happens because of a flickering mind, we get happiness, a temporary happiness from something. Either we don't care about it, we forget about it, and it's placed with some other desire. So, my experience, like many of our experiences, is that it's a flickering state. And there are reasons for that. And one of the reasons I feel is that mind is something very subtle. Like we often say, do you have a mind of your own? Now, what's the meaning of that? Do you have a mind of your own? So that always makes me think, what does that person mean when he says, okay, I have a mind of my own, because whatever I'm saying right now is my own mind, Shivali's mind, which is telling her to say certain things, certain thoughts. But then we have studied, we know that mind itself has several layers. So there's a subconscious mind also, which most of the time are not tapping or being aware. And generally, we are always guided by our external, what we are observing around us. So the mind plays with us. So, yes, we'll think about this today, and I hope Kassim ji will share his take on this, and so will Carla, and I will gain some clarity. So, I'm trying to figure out first, do I have a mind of my own? So, welcome to my floor.
That may be true, but I want you to talk about it right now. Do you have a mind of your own? What do you think? And do you use your mind to keep yourself happy, to keep yourself moving forward?
Yeah, with passage of time.
Topic.
Yes, with passage of time, Carla, I have become more assertive. So definitely Shivali has a mind of her own now. She's not merely, led by what others are saying, for example. Shivali does not merely say what others are saying. She has her own way of looking at things, her experiences. So definitely, I think I do have a mind of my own. But then about happiness, how to connect mind and happiness. I think happiness has its own independence. It is not guided or dictated by our situations as such. Taking things in its stride, in our stride, flowing with time, flowing with whatever is happening around us. It's not easy. I agree. Many viewers will say that, oh, it's not that easy. I understand. But it's possible. We can actually do it. We can make it happen. And many of us have experienced this, that when we set our mind on something, we achieve it. So definitely we do have a mind which we can actually, if not completely control, we can guide it, we can channelize it. So if you are seeking happiness in life, now again, happiness is a big term. Carla and Kassim, I'm sure we all agree. What is happiness to you and what is happiness to me might mean two different things. So yes, can we really control our mind? The question is, can we control our mind to seek happiness even in the little things and to be grateful for those little things? I think that's the big question.
Okay, now can you tell me, do you seek happiness or is happiness within?
Well, sometimes we struggle with that. I'm seeking, oh, I'll be happy if I get this. I'll be happy. And then the realization comes that it is not from the external, it is coming from within. But it takes time sometimes, Carla. It doesn't happen very easily. It's like a child who likes a particular flavor of an ice cream. He gets that strawberry flavor for himself, feels happy, but after some time, that child may lose his interest in that and want something else, seek something else. But ultimately, we know that it comes from within, and it comes from simple things. Because if it came from the external, then people would be happy all the time, right? So it comes from the little things. And here I would like to say that it is our consciousness. Our consciousness, depending on the consciousness in which we exist, uh, the happiness will also get, we don't have to seek it. It wells from within. It comes from within. And this is something on which we need to work on a daily basis. So there will be times when we are not so happy about things, but then we soon realize that it's something is already existing. We are unnecessarily trying to complicate things. So yes, I understand, Carla, what you're trying to say. So it is not something that we should seek as such. But human beings are like that. We are led by our own sense of logic. And instead of finding joy in the simple things of life, we are running after things, which will give us pleasure, which will give us joy, definitely required also, but it's temporary pleasure. So ultimately, it's the simple things, the rise of dawn, the rise of the sun, or playing with children, or being with nature, even being with your parents, you know, being with your elders, being with like minded people, souls around you when you connect. Right now, Carla, whenever, I mean, there have been times when it's been a challenge for me to come on the show due to some XYZ reason. But the moment I think, oh, I'm on this show with Carla and my friends, the joy that I get from this, I'm being very honest on this platform, it wells from within. It comes from within. I feel that connection. And I'm very thankful for this. This is what I would like to share.
Okay. I'll come back to you, but I'd like to hear what Kassim has to say, and then we'll make it more of a conversation. Kassim?
Hi, Carla and Shivali ji. It is really nice to hear you, and I'm really happy to be on the show. This is the first time. Now, we're talking about happiness. Happiness means a lot different from different people. And it's for the same person as well. It's when you're on a journey of life, from the time you're young, say school going years, maybe perhaps then till the time you reached here now, you're in your adulthood. There are many stages of life. You've been happy about many different things. And the same thing which you have been happy about, you look back and sometimes you wonder, I mean, there was any reason to be happy about. So it gives a lot of significance at that moment of time. So you may have a happiness which is momentary, which may not have any meaning at all after a certain time. For example, to tell you, when I'm in love with my girlfriend, and she's now obviously my wife as well, and I used to really look forward to the time, and I'm going to see her. So imagining, and the thought of meeting her itself would make me happy. So want to talk to her as often as possible, want to get in touch with her. And every little time, I'm just free by myself. Even she's not in front of me. I feel so happy, thinking about those moments. But once you get married, the things change. I mean, it's not the same equation, though it's the same woman. Everything else is the same. We get married, then we have children, then you have grandchildren. Uh, your priorities, or what I call, things change. So happiness is, I think, is momentary in most of the cases. It will not remain the same throughout. And also the significance we attach to anything in particular. For example, right young on in life, when you start life, for instance, people are running after the career to get a lot of money. They want to get higher positions in life, and these kind of things. But as you grow older, you begin to understand that there's much more to life than just running on a rat race. You're trying to catch up in somebody, and you want to rise up in an organization. You think these are just it's not of much significance. Then you have a different life altogether, where you try to be a wholesome person, where you want to connect yourself with, say, for example, whatever you may call it, God, or your creator. So ultimately, you find a lot of happiness, in that connection. So I think happiness is something, as Shivali ji had told, like it's not something we have to find externally. It has to be from internal, from inside us. So it depends like what or how much amount of importance we give to a certain thing that will make us happy or sad. This is how I feel about happiness. And talking about mind, still people are wondering where really the mind is. Is the mind is in the brain, or is it in the heart? Where does it lie? So it's not a physical thing. It's actually an emotion, which we call it as mind. And when we say that, do you have a mind of your own? It means just that, are you able to think from your own self, by your own self, to arrive at something, or you are able to find a solution to something, thinking from your feet, I would say. So mind it's not a physical a part of the body, but it's an emotion which is there. I think probably it's your product of your the activity of your brain, as I might call it. So I will not be able to tell you where my mind is. So this has been, for instance, people always say, okay, I have it here in my heart, my mind is here, or the mind is here in the brain. I mean, it has nothing to do with the physicality of the mind, but it's the feeling which is very important. And I think we have to realize it's something which all of us possess, and though we do not know really where it lies.
But our mind is there, and thoughts are going through our minds from constantly. And we can choose our thoughts that we focus on. We can either focus on the negative or the positive. Every thought has a contrasting effect. What thoughts do you focus on more often than not? Is it the negative? I know for me, someone really woke me up yesterday. I am planning a pretty long trip, and I've been using a walker, and I don't want to use it. And the person said to me, actually, the doctor said to me, it's all in your mind. Look, listen to that negative self-talk you're thinking right now. And the moment she said that, I heard it clearly and deeply inside. And I thought, I can do this. And I did.
Oh.
So we can change our mind depending on the contrast. Where do you leave your mind, Kassim and Shivali? Do you leave it in all that negativity at times? I'm not saying you can always be positive, but it's up to you to make that choice.
Great.
You can answer.
Yes, okay. Well, you rightly said, Carla, how we behave, or the amount of positivity we have nurtured in ourselves really reflects on our habits, our attitudes, our way of life. I totally agree with that, because I had a chance, an opportunity to work with a lot of people, probably about 1,200, at a point of time. And what I realized, one thing was like, when I had a positive outlook, I'm able to transfer these positivity through people. It brings, when I think, even at times, I'm not 100% sure whether I'll be able to complete the job, or maybe I have my self-doubts at the beginning of doing something. But when I go with a positive attitude, with a positive mind, I'm able to achieve it. And this is by practice also. I think probably positivity is also a kind of a right attitude that you nurture early on in life. Because as you pointed out, Carla, you were asking the question, are you most of the time negative or positive? So you have got to be unless and until, you have gone through life to a certain degree, then you are able to have these kind of reprogram yourself to nurture that positivity in you. And then that positivity will be reflected on your face, and you're able to bring a lot of happiness, a lot of positivity in the people whom that you relate with. Because at times I've seen that people, in generally when they talk, they talk about weather, they're feeling very sad that weather is not good. And when they talk about the business climate, they say, oh, everything is going down, the stock market is falling, and I don't know what's the future. They talk about this kind of a thing. But the real truth is life has never been like that. There's always been, upswing and downswing. Anything that goes up has to come down, and anything that goes down will naturally will come up. That's the law of life. Be it anything, whether it's business, your life activity, you even yourself, for example, when you start early in the morning, you may be boisterous, you want to do a lot of things, then there comes a point of time you feel, you've done enough, and you're tired, and your activity or your productivity comes down, and then again, you try to come up. This is, so I think there is kind of a wave in every situation even in our lives. But the thing is, like, we have got to be positive. You have to nurture positivity if we really want to be, as you said, happy in our life. This is the most important thing. Otherwise, as Miss Shivali was saying, is like, you should not be looking for happiness around you. Instead, you should be creating your own happiness, because it has to come from within. So no matter how bad the situation around you is, it's entirely in your hand to see that, how you are able to project an image of positivity to the people that whom you interact with. Because it is a kind of what I may call it, like infectious. Happiness is infectious, smile is infectious. The moment you smile, look at somebody and you shake their hand, with a kind of a strength and power. The same thing, the other person also will try to, exhibit. So that has been mostly, I would say, from my experience, and I believe, you must have sensed it in your life as well.
Shivali, I know you know that your mind goes like a monkey, and there's contrasting thoughts. What do you do with the contrasting of thoughts?
Sometimes, there are moments, just a confession, when I tend to be completely defocused. When you're getting caught in that, what should I say, that whirlpool, you're getting caught in it, and it's like a quicksand, that negativity that you're speaking of. You get caught in it, and then what happens? The focus has changed. As Kassim was also pointing out, the focus has changed in this case. And what happens? One thing leading to another, things which are not even existing. The mind starts creating, this we had discussed in the one episode earlier also. So that time, in the moment the realization comes to me that no, this is not the way it is to be done, I kind of correct myself. And in that same situation, what happens after some time, the realization comes that all this fuming and, fretting over it, like getting upset about it, did not make any sense. It was my response, which should have been the right one and not my reaction. So, what do I do to do it? I mean, how do I control my mind? The mind cannot be controlled in the sense that it's always going to be flickering. It depends on what we are doing with it, how we are utilizing, if something called mind exists within us, how we are utilizing that moment. So, for some, I mean, just today someone was discussing this. There was just some co-passengers with me. I mean, co-travelers. Like I didn't even know them. So one of the ladies, she was telling the other woman, "Oh, nowadays I'm trying to meditate, I'm trying to understand what is meditation, that moment, when I think I'm meditating. So they're talking about this mind thing, that their mind or my mind tells me, if I achieve this, then I have, done what is meant to be. It is not like that. So what do? I do those things which make me feel happy. It has to be done sometimes, what should I say, artificially? Artificially, in the sense that it is not happening spontaneously. I'm in no mood to listen to music, but then I kind of control myself and I direct my mind towards that. That no, I'm going to play this kind of music just to change the energy, just to change the frequency. It's ultimately about the energy and the frequency. This is my experience. And the moment my focus has changed, I have channelized my mind in that direction, things appear better and wonderful. But it is a conscious choice, which I keep on saying again and again. It's a choice that I make at that moment. And the more you practice this, the more you train your mind. That is why they say train the mind. You have to train it. It's like a small child who has grown up doing certain things, and now the child is suddenly realizing that no, things are not going to remain the same. They need to change and to accept it. So this is with all of us, with all human beings, that we we have certain expectations out of life. We have certain expectations out of our relationship with the people around us, with our own family members. And as a result, we unnecessarily make ourselves negative and unhappy at times. Whereas we should be looking at means of enhancing the joy, means of enhancing that experience in a more wonderful way. And this has to be a conscious choice, which I also, at times, I am making this choice so that I can channelize my mind in the right direction, focusing on the right things. So that time, you see, the things appear so different. So it's like what we say, change your experience, change your perceptions, change the reality. Transform the same situation into a happier one. Because as we said, happiness is already existing there. But our mind, which plays with us, or rather, we are playing with our minds, whatever you want to call it, we tend to defocus. We are human after all. We are not God. We are human. There are bound to be challenges. And I proudly declare that yes, at times I am a weak person. I'm human. There will be moments. And I say, wow, I could challenge myself and I've overcome the situation. And I pat myself. There was a time I never patted myself. I never knew what was the meaning of self love. Now I say, wow, Shivali, you've done it. And the things change. So that negativity and positive, they are existing. They are coexisting actually. So as they say, what is darkness? Absence of light is darkness. The moment you introduce the spark of light, the darkness moves away. So likewise with our mind, we need to train our mind to look at positive things. And for that, we could be doing various things.
Right. And we get stuck. And we need to find, where I feel we need to find a way to move from the negative thinking to the positive thinking. As I said, when I was in the doctor's office yesterday, I was saying, I can't do this. I need your help. And she knew I didn't. But I needed to change that thinking in order to change my behavior. And what was very cool about her, although I hated it at that moment, she just left the room and said, when you do it, let me know. And it was just me and her in the office. And I'm like, okay, I'll scream at you for the next half hour. I can't do it. And she said, it's all your negative thinking. And I needed to switch it. I needed to turn on the switch. what is it that allows you to know I need to change the switch? I need to turn on the light from the darkness. How do you make that change? Kassim?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a very nice thing that you said about your experience at the doctor, So at times, like though, say, for example, you have been a lot of experience in life, you have got varied experiences over a period of time. Despite all that, you needed that little push, which you have to be told that you can do it, that made you made all the difference. So likewise, however confident we are, like Shivali ji as well, she said the same thing, I'm proud to say that, at times I am weak and I'm not able to do, things get out of hand, because I'm a human. So we all have those, periods of, we are the soft spots in our life, in our so we get you know got I don't know, I'm losing words for that. Uh, we are so affected by that, because of our nature, human nature, that we are frail, we are overcome by this, we are not able to come back.
Stop with the word
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah.
Fear is very important because it's
Yeah.
our fear, our lack of trust in my case, it was my feet yesterday, and she kept on saying, trust your feet, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? And then I finally realized, because she wasn't giving me a choice, what that meant. So let's talk about fear for a moment, because it's fear that keeps our mind from doing anything. It's fear that keeps the people from coming to the English show. I don't want to make a mistake. Everyone will laugh at me. But the truth is, that's not true. You are the one who's about it. I don't do this because forget about other people. Begin thinking about yourself. And how do we remind ourselves to do that? Okay, Kassim.
See, that's the challenge, See, at times what happens is we lose confidence, sometimes it's overwhelming, our problems are overwhelmed, and we keep it, even in business, for example, it happens with me many a time that, I try to do a couple of other businesses, new areas, new phase, everything is different. And when I enter into a different field, there comes a point, there is always a self-doubt whether I'll be able to go ahead in life, whether I will be successful. At that point of time, I have got to tell myself, no, it is possible. This is not something which I am doing for the first time. I mean, there are many people who have gone through this route and they have been successful. So that kind of confidence, I give it to myself, the self-talk that I give, and that makes me go ahead and achieve certain things in life. So that's what it is, because many of the time you yourself, self-talk to negativity. For example, oh, no, this is not possible. I don't have the right kind of experience. I don't have the right connections. I don't have the kind of money that I need to complete this. I don't have the time. This is not the time. So many things might, pop up in your head. But against all that, you have to, as Shivali was saying, that, you have got to program yourself, program your mind, and to tell that, yes, it's possible, you can do it, and then you do it, This will happen. I think probably you keep on doing it again and again. You program yourself, or you teach yourself, and you hone your mind to that point, when it will take some actions. Because until unless you move from that position, you're not able to achieve. And many of the time, if you see people out there, even educated people today, I find that, they want to enter, they want to become entrepreneurs, but then they never do anything at all because they are afraid, to get into an area where they have no much experience. So all through the life, they just go on. I mean, because they have read so much, they know they there's no dearth of knowledge. They have got so much of information at the fingertips. They know everything, but then that action part is the one which is, not there. And because of this, they're not able to achieve. So that's very, very important, that we need to tell ourselves, yes, you can. And definitely once you make this very clear to your mind that, you have to do it, and this is the only way that you can achieve success. And definitely, coupled with that, you take actions, you're able to reach your goal.
Shivali?
Yes, yes, action. I think that's a very important thing which he has mentioned, that it's like training. You train your mind, you engage it. The word which I really like to use here is you engage your mind. You have to engage it. You have to engage it in things. You have to take action. You have to take a decision rather than being bogged down by inertia. That fear factor that we are talking about, that, too many doubts, unnecessary doubts at times, that courage, that little courage. And for that, as Kassim ji has just pointed out, that nudge. So we do take support of friends, our friends are there, our soul connections are there, who help us to make that connect. But here, there's one thing more important. I feel, Carla and Kassim, that, this is a decision. Like, if I am in that kind of a situation, it's up to me. I have to make that choice. Nobody can force me to make a choice. Maximum, someone can encourage me. But if I refuse to listen, or I refuse to, it's like, someone who's just doing self pity, not taking any action. Without action, it won't happen. That nudge, okay, it's provided, but the doer is the person. That's why I think Carla keeps on telling us, don't say, I will try, do it. Doing, taking action, taking that little step forward. That's so important. So if you're caught up in that situation, and you're getting struck down, by that thing that the mind is kind of feeding you, so it's up to you. You should be in control of the mind. The mind should not be in control of you. It's my mind, so I should be controlling it. Why is the mind controlling? So this is something that you have to logically figure out also, that we need to really figure out. And I think in today's world, mental hygiene is a big buzzword. It's there all across the media. Mental hygiene, more than physical health, it's the mental state. It's a state of mind. That is why we say it's a certain state of mind, and that state can be altered. It can be altered. That is why people are resorting to all kinds of practices, mindfulness, and whatnot. It can be altered. It's possible, it can be done, but the action has to be taken. Otherwise, it's a mere theory. This is so important, that action part.
Action is important. And I agree with you. And any action we take, whether it's the quote right answer because everyone else agrees, or it's the wrong answer because you are a thinker and you don't agree with everyone just because they say it, is valid. Making mistakes when you're first starting something, or even after you've been doing it for a while. I made some mistakes with this show today in getting it ready. It's not a cause to say, oh, my life is dead. I have made so many mistakes. Mistakes are a way of helping you walk down your path. And people are afraid to take action because they're afraid of making a mistake. I don't know how many messages I get because Rehan is constantly introducing me to people. Well, I can't be interviewed by you because I'll make a mistake and everyone will laugh at me. And I'm like, what? Let's talk about this a tiny bit. You're the only one who's worried about your mistake. Most people won't even catch it. So, how can we help people understand that a mistake is absolutely okay? Being afraid is okay, but allowing that fear to stop you from moving is not okay. Allowing that fear to turn you into a criminal is not okay. Use that fear to propel you forward. Shivali,
Hmm.
you got to
Yes,
talk whether you
yes,
want to or not.
yes. We face this. I also face this, and I have learned it. I have taken action upon it. There was a time, say 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I was a different Shivali. I also had this tendency of being too afraid. I still have at times social anxiety. At times, you know, if I'm told you have to go and speak with strangers, totally. I get into that thing, oh, if I do this, then I tell myself that, come on, you're an adult. Why are you talking in this childish manner? So, likewise, I encourage, I think we do need to encourage people, when they come up with this state of mind again. So, encouragement is definitely needed. But the what is coming to my mind is that again we are using the word mind and happiness and all that. Happiness in this world is going to be fleeting. This we all know. And I think sometimes ago, Kassim had pointed out to this thing about, he mentioned something about spirituality. He just touched upon it. We are getting caught up in the external most of the time. Our consciousness is lost. And once again, I would like to share over here. I repeat that I am not denying that money is important. Everything is important in life. But in this material consciousness, what happens? Our mind is getting more and more into this consciousness. It's about consciousness. You can be in this world and yet you can reach beyond. And it will start from within. The decision, the action has to begin from here. The journey will begin from here, and then it will happen. It will have a ripple effect. Like for example, if I'm telling this to people around me, I must have experienced it myself. I cannot be dictating things or giving a sermon to someone just like that, just for the sake of it, until unless I've experienced it myself. So if I'm telling people don't be afraid, I should be very spontaneous and natural about it. That's why I'm saying openly. There are moments when I'm also filled with fear. It's human, it's natural, it's okay. But if we are seeking happiness in terms of XYZ, we are conditioning ourselves that I'll be happy only if we are laying these limitations on ourselves, then we are actually limiting our whole life's experience also. Because at the end, we should realize, as Carla just now, I think some time ago said, so how do you do it? That realization has to come from within. That realization cannot come externally. It will come from within, and then the real journey begins. And you realize that this mind was just playing with you because you are covering it with the externals all the time. That is why we have something called the subconscious mind. There are layers of the mind, and I don't need to speak on that. Enough for books and writers, and there have been excellent people on this. That when you kind of unlearn whatever you have learned so far, then things really begin to happen, and you realize that all that thing that I was scared, I was not, I was indecisive. It is all negative terms actually. We are denying ourselves. That is why they say, what is disease? When you are dis-ease, you are not at ease. This is just a small example. You are not at ease, so it is disease. That is why the moment you are easy, everything is fine. So that fear, oh, I can't do this, it is coming from this mental state. And we can train ourselves, we can take conscious steps for it. Sometimes artificially we need to do it, but it happens There are so many people who can vouch for these experiences. And so many people we hear who are so successful in their own field. They took that baby step and they had a mind of their own because they were not looking at the negative things. They were not getting bogged down by what the people were telling them. They used their intelligence. So we have got something intelligence also. If I have a mind, I have intelligence also.
We're talking about happy minds and happy lives. Someone just wrote that I was not choosing good topics. But these are topics that are important for everyone. What someone says is good and what someone says is bad, it's determined by the person perceiving. What one understands and what one doesn't understand is dependent on their mind. I'm not sure this is not a good topic because we all get confused about what we want in life and how we're going to get to that point. And if we don't become aware of it, how can we decide whether something is good or something is bad? Kassim.
Yeah, I would like to go back a little bit on this thing, about how you were saying, like, the mistakes that we do, for example, are we people that none can make a mistake? No, everybody makes a mistake. And even in the culture, in the company, the corporate culture as well, there are a lot of companies which do not allow people to make mistakes. And those are companies which do not grow. Because the experience that I had with the people, since I've worked with a lot of people, I used to let them make, because they were initially in the beginning, they were afraid to take up any project or any work in hand because they never had an experience. So we teach them, we tell them to do something. Despite that, they always have a fear they will fail. But we let them fail because that's how you learn. Once you make a mistake, you know where and which direction you're going and how well you've done. And until and unless you get yourself immersed in that particular activity, you will not know, for example, how good you are at it. And the moment you start doing again and again, you get the proficiency in that. So this is how, we also nurture leaders, shop managers, and even the highly talented salespeople. Even all of them at the beginning, they're afraid to do certain things, and they need to be hand-holded. And then you have to teach them how they have to make mistakes. And you have to celebrate the mistakes in organizations. This is very, very important. It's not only in the companies, as also in our life with the people that whom we are interacting on a day-to-day basis as well. So it's one of the reason, that one of the main thing that, until unless we accept the fact that people can make mistake, we will be perennially sad. So when somebody makes a mistake, you have got to have that understanding that, yes, he is human. He is trying, or she is trying their best, and they're not able to succeed. And that's nothing wrong. In fact, if you are in a position to teach them how it can be overcome, well and good. If not, you have at least, you can talk to them about it and explain to them where they have gone wrong. And I don't think anybody will find it offensive, especially when you have pointed out to them their mistakes or what they've done, in a right way. If it is put in a proper perspective, they will definitely take it up. There are, of course, many ways to correct what mistakes that you do. If there are some people, they may just say right on the face that you are wrong. I didn't expect you to do something like that. That's so horrific of you to have done that. I mean, that's not the way. we have got to be having that kind of sense of feeling that, he's a person that he made a mistake, and you have to understand him, and then try to present the mistakes that has been done to in a nice manner, and that will be easily taken up. So I think whenever somebody makes a mistake, we have to celebrate the mistake, make the person laugh at the mistake sometime. This helps for him to grow, because the moment you're going to frown, the moment you're going to make fun of him, the moment you're going to ostracize him, that will actually, will be a negative stroke, and it will actually put down the person. Instead, when we encourage the people to make mistake, what will eventually happen is people will own the thing that they do. Otherwise, they don't want to take up any challenges in life. So in the company, in wherever you are, if you nurture this kind of a culture where you celebrate the mistakes, what people do, I think we can have better results from people.
Yes, Kassim, for that we need compassion. For
Yes.
that we
Yeah,
need compassion to reach out.
absolutely.
Yes, Carla. Carla wanted to say something. So sorry, Carla. Yes.
Mistakes are important, and people are afraid of them. Making a mistake is the only way you can grow. It's the only way you're going to learn. I have kids who come to the English show on Sundays, and sometimes I do a math drill, and I'll say, "What is 9 times 9?" And the kid may say 82, and I'll say, "Okay, you're very close. Let's see what this other person says." And they come up with 81. Right, you got it. I never tell a child or anyone that you're wrong. The important thing is to listen to the person and listen to what they're saying. And a conversation goes two ways. If I'm listening and the other person is continually to talk, there's no conversation. It's just,
Yeah.
you're not asking me anything. And I feel children need to be taught that making a mistake is as important as being wrong, as being right. There was a quote that I read yesterday, and I know that I'm not getting it correct. It's more important to make a mistake and be humble than to be arrogant and be right. This is very important to keep in mind. A happy mind and a happy life belongs to the person who's willing to be flexible enough to see everything going where it needs to go, and according to the needs of the person talking. So Val, you wanted to say something?
Yes, happiness, like this word happiness that you mentioned. Happiness is a choice, Carla. It's a choice that we are making. Every moment we are making a choice. This is what I also experience in my life. Every moment I'm making a choice. And sometimes when I kind of fetter over something, then I realize, no, I could have made another choice in this place, and the same situation would have been a much, which, see, it's not the situation, it's my response to it. And one thing I want to say is that, this mind that we have been talking about, mind, happiness, life, you know, uh, seeking the externals will give us temporary joy. We know it. And I think right in the beginning of the show, as Kassim had pointed out too, he mentioned the word God over there. Okay. I sometimes say this very often, and I repeat once again that we are caught up in that same thing over and over again. And I, with my belief in reincarnation, like right now, I'm here in this lifetime, I'm trying to achieve certain things. and maybe another lifetime I'll be doing similar kind of things, and it's a repeated action. So what is happening for me in this lifetime? Maybe XYZ things are going to make me happy. This is what I think, that if I achieve this, it's going to make me happy, but it gives me temporary happiness. We have to understand this. Happy life, when we say happy life, is it a lifetime that we are talking about? Is it about a single lifetime that we are talking about? That consciousness, like for example, mind, if I speak of the mind, I learned it in my own life that it is also connected to the purpose of our life. That why, if I'm in a human body, if you, if Kasimji, we are all in these human bodies, definitely we have a higher purpose of life. So, what is that purpose of life? If we can engage in our mind, in actions, in activities which are connected to the purpose of our lives, I think we'll be much happier people. Then material things, whether they are there or not, we are not dependent on those things. And what Kasanji just now pointed out is, what came to my mind was that the earth has so much of population, right? If one of us, each of us, sorry, if each of us even encourages one precious life, the world will instantly transform. I don't know how to explain this, but this was a thought which was coming to my mind. If I could, even one single life I could choose, just one person that I choose, a precious life I choose, and I nurture that person. In nurturing that person, I'll be nurturing myself. That ripple effect of joy and happiness that we're talking about. So I can engage my mind in activities, in doing things which will actually lead to pure joy and bliss. And it will be found in simple things, not in the complications that, again, our mind is whipping up for us. I hope I've been able to say this, but this is a thought
Yes.
which is coming to my mind. The world will transform instantly. But for that, we need to think intelligently and see whether we are doing the right kind of things. And right doesn't mean I'm talking in terms of some morals or something. I'm speaking in terms of things which are of value to us, which create value in our life. Value creation. Value creation is so important. And so then happy mind, happy lives, then the true purpose of life is achieved, of this human life is achieved. And for that, I would like to say one thing more, that we need to engage ourselves in the service of God. Okay, in service of the higher end. Call him Allah, call him Bhagwan, call him God, call him the higher dimension, higher energy, whatever. We have been given this precious life to engage ourselves in some purpose which connects us with the divine purpose for which we have been created. So it will be pure bliss, pure anand, as we say. Pure bliss. This is pure bliss.
Yes.
But yes,
Awesome. We need to close soon, but I'd like your closing remarks too.
Well, Shivali had rightly pointed out, you have got to have a purpose of life. And this purpose, which has been handed out to us, it has to be in sync with what the higher energy or God or Jesus or, Bhagwan, as she was telling me, what he wants us to do in life. This is so very important, That's what makes our ultimate happiness. One would, so material things of life will not bring happiness, as she said, rightly pointed out. And I think if we have a higher purpose of life, that will actually bring in the happiness that is very much needed in life. And also the encouragement, which she rightly pointed out, I agree with her, that even one person we are able to encourage in our life, that's going to have actually a very big effect. It will have a ripple effect. If I make somebody happy, that person again will be happy, and he will be on the other hand, you will be making somebody else happy as well. So that's why, happiness is a feeling that will be, it's a very infectious thing, When we are happy, automatically we send this waves of happiness across everybody, and that makes us all happy. So it's very, very important that we bring out the positive energy in us to make things happy for others, and in turn, in fact, it will make us also happy. Because if I make you happy, if I see you smile, automatically I feel that I have done something really nice, and that makes me happy as well. So that's how I would like to complete this.
I agree with you. Happiness is contagious, but sadness is also contagious.
Yes.
And you need to make that choice between being sad and being happy. And you're the only one who can do it. You're the only one who can decide whether this is a good topic or not so good topic. I'm not going to convince anyone about it. I thought it was good. But the important thing is, whatever you decide to do, you decide to do it with your heart as well as your mind. And when the two things come together, then you are in the present moment. And only from the present moment can you really move forward. And with that, we will be back on Thursday for another MindPlore. Shivali will be there, and there'll be a few surprises on Thursday, which is Thanksgiving here. I'm grateful for the people who watch. I'm grateful for Shivali and Kassim for joining me. And let's wave goodbye. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Carla. Bye-bye, Shivali ji.